Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Turf Today podcast.
What's up?
How's it going?
You like my Avengers setup behind me?
Yeah, that's awesome. You're on the road though, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in Detroit. Got the Rocket Mortgage this week, so hanging out with the crew for a few days. Got a little Airbnb. Took the
Beautiful.
basement for my setup, and it's all decked out in Avengers. My bedroom's got Avengers posters all over it, and I can't escape it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
You never know what you're gonna run into.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Airbnbs, you never know. Did you check for cameras yet?
I haven't. I haven't. They're gonna be disturbed at what they
One of
see
those
though if
things,
they
eh?
have them. Yeah, it's like that's not a me problem. That's a them problem if
Yeah,
they have
exactly.
cameras.
Sitting there going through all the footage.
Yeah.
How are things going down there? It's from all the footage I've seen, it seems like the course is in good shape. Everyone's having fun, working hard.
Yeah, course is in great shape. Obviously working really hard. Today's Tuesday. They just started to get some rain around 10 o'clock, so I'm not sure what the rain amounts are. We wrapped up morning maintenance and got home around 8 o'clock or something, 8 or 8:30. So yeah, curious to get back out there this afternoon and see what they got. But they were in a great position. They're in a good position, trending, speeds are trending in the right direction, firmness, all the measurables that they take on a regular basis to try and, peak at the right time. Everything's kind of on track to be where they want to be. So yeah, it's all good.
Right on. Yeah, it's always a fun one. Always a cool one to watch on TV for sure. Was it a late night for you, staying up watching Game 7 in the Stanley Cup?
Almost made it through the whole thing. How about
Almost, eh?
you?
Yeah, we stayed up. It's one of those things I couldn't fall asleep. I was too nervous. It was
Yeah.
unfortunate. I mean, it was a good game, good series. Happy for Florida, but would have been cool to see Edmonton take it home. But you know,
Yeah. Yeah, that was an incredible series, man. Three up 3-0, and then they battle back and take it to the most exciting sporting event there is, really. Game 7 in the NHL.
yeah,
It was a great game.
yeah. I'm happy for your buddy Bobrovsky there, the old
Yeah,
Columbus boy.
I am too. I just haven't had a chance really to look at any of the coverage or anything. So I kind of want to see, the reactions and all that. That's always my favorite thing, in sporting events and those is just the reactions. They put so much time and energy into practice and full well. I mean, you were at the peak of that, you're very high level in hockey, you know what it takes. So it's always cool when it comes to fruition for these guys and just see the joy and the emotions that come out of them.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they're gonna have fun. Bit of a double-edged sword too, because I'm sure they're gassed, like seven
Oh,
games back
right.
and forth. But then at the same time, you want to party, so I don't know how that's gonna go for those guys.
I know. I know.
What about the Travelers?
Didn't see a single shot of the Travelers, unfortunately. I heard about some of the vandalism that happened on 18. Haven't had a chance to really look at that. From what I saw, great finish. What playoff with Scotty and Tom Kim?
Hmm.
Yeah, so both Dallas National members. So they're adding all sorts of hardware down there at Dallas National between Bryson and Scotty, just racking it up.
They put on a good show there. I always love
Yeah,
seeing the big umbrella they put out in the middle of the pond there. It's fun.
right. Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
Have you been to that
I
one?
never been to the Travelers. No, no, have not. There's a lot I haven't been to. So there's only 36 of them PGA Tour events throughout the year, and I don't even know how many I have right now, but not enough. One of these days we'll make the rounds, man.
Yeah, exactly. Just start taking them off, taking them off.
That's right. That's right. I should probably get some sort of board or something with PGA Tour events and just start, like people collect top 100 courses or whatever
Hmm.
it is. I'm just going to get all 36 of the tour events and just start marking them off.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up in your world, man?
We are just busy, busy as
Yeah.
always, but we went up to the cottage for a couple nights. It rained the whole
Nice.
time. So,
Ah,
yeah, it's one of those things. It's still nice. You still go up there and listen to the rain on the water on the tin roof and, just relax. We're able to watch
yeah.
some old movies, read some books, get some work done, hang out. It was nice. It's
Yeah.
we need that every once in a while.
Yeah. So is the sun coming back and was it just exhaustion that's getting him now or what? Did he go at the cabin?
I mean, that's potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially, yeah. You know how that is too. And the change of air, it's the altitude up there in the Gatineau
Uh,
Hills. It's a little bit crispy up there. So, it's always nice to get some fresh air. But yeah, I do find you come back tired and sometimes a little delayed. So yeah, he could just be feeling it. But
Yeah, that never goes away.
no, every time he gets sick, my wife gets sick, and somehow I seem to escape it. So knock on wood. I don't know. I guess he's got her immune system or something.
Yeah, that's because you escaped down to your studio down there and just kind of, let the germs all stay upstairs, right?
Yeah, that's right. No, it's nice and cool down here too. So
Yeah.
temperature's perfect.
Yeah, that's why I took the basement here in Detroit, is it's nice and cool down here. So it works. It's been like 90s last week. I think they said they had, you know, the highs in the low 90s most of the week and just kind of leaned out some of the rough, but now that cooler temperatures and some moisture are back here, it's helping things pop, and they need that. It's a flat golf course and guys can really, attack the golf course. So hopefully they get that rough going and causes some issues this week.
Yeah. Are they doing anything special out there?
Pretty routine. No, it's pretty routine. It's the more and more I go to these things, I mean, tournament week honestly is, I hate to say it's easy, but advance week's always the challenging one. It's when you're really getting that, it's that last dress rehearsal before this week.
Right.
So once you get here, it's your primary practices of taking care of fine surfaces, bunkers, and just kind of managing to, again, like we talked about earlier, to kind of just get the course to peak at the right time. So there's a lot obviously that goes into it, but no, I mean, for the most part, you get to this week and everything is fairly routine. You get into your basic practices and you keep moving forward. So haven't seen anything too crazy yet. I mean, it's a great team. They got a cool food truck set up there for the
Nice.
guys to get out there and get some breakfast sandwiches and all that. Had some donuts out there this morning. They do some burger dogs in the evenings, which are pretty nice. So it's a good crew, fun times. So
I've heard that's a good way to take care of everybody. Just kind of stay ahead of them with food. Every time they
oh
come
yeah,
back, there's always food waiting. The next meal is always ready, always warm. That certainly keeps people going because it can be a bit of a long week or a couple weeks if
yeah,
you're there for the whole thing.
yep, absolutely. Yeah, keep a fridge stocked with waters and sodas and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, and keep feeding them, and people are usually happy. So and they'll start getting some breaks. They've been sticking around, staff and volunteers. Didn't They haven't gone home after morning assignments. Yesterday they had some debris that they wanted to kind of clean up, and then today with the projected rain, they wanted to keep them around just in case they need to run some squeegees out or anything like that. So they kept everyone around. But I think tomorrow they'll probably be able to go back. Barring any unforeseen circumstances that pop up, they should be able to head back tomorrow and get a little nap. So this has been the earliest one that I've had all year. So it's a 2:45 alarm clock.
2:45.
Yeah, 2:45 alarm
Jeez.
clock, and then at the course around 3:30. Morning assignments start around 4, just a little after 4. So
Yeah, that'll keep things busy.
yeah, yeah, that's hence why I didn't make the whole game last night.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Nobody can blame me for that. They
Yeah.
big crew right now too, like pretty full house over there.
Yeah, it's a decent size. It's I can't remember. They've got 30 staff members, and I believe they brought in 30 to 40 volunteers.
Okay.
Some of those volunteers are only doing a couple shifts or only doing a morning shift, and they're going back to their job. So they've got a bunch of guys. They've been really good the last several years. They've gotten some local guys, and then Sam Moynihan, the new director, has got some great connections and has been able to pull some more volunteers now from around the country. So he's got guys from California, Florida, Maryland. I mean, you name it, all over the country. He's got some international interns as well, guys I think from
Nice.
Scotland and can't remember where else. Like maybe Sweden or Norway. It's actually one of Chad's guys, one of his equipment managers is going down there to help. So so yeah, it's a decent little crew. There he is.
Hey guys,
Chad, how's it going?
good. How are you?
Not too bad. Thanks for joining us today.
No problem.
Chad, this is Adam. Adam Chad.
Nice to meet you, Adam.
Good to finally meet you. Yeah, Brian's told
We
me lots of good things about you.
That's very nice of him. He could probably tell you some bad ones too, but I'm glad it's nice.
There's nothing bad. There might be some good stories, but that's okay. We might have a special guest pop down here later. I don't know. He he keeps complaining that he doesn't want to do it. So
Oh, okay.
Weber's sitting upstairs. We're splitting an Airbnb this week for a few days. So
Nice.
yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
you have to get him down here.
Yeah, Adam sent me a text earlier. He's like, yeah, I've got a sick kid. It's going to be touch and go today and all that. I'm like, look, I've got a guy here ready to go to fill
We
in.
got somebody.
And
Well,
Weber can,
Weber could definitely tell some good stories. I've known Matt since I don't know, mid '90s. So we lived together in college and at our internship. So he definitely has the good stories.
he's got the dirt. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So how's everything going down there, Chad? You guys got all the structures out and getting back to normal or what?
No, not yet, not yet. We're about 2 weeks, post tournament. So there's still a lot of structures up. There's actually some bleachers up. So it's slowly but surely coming down, and the circus will leave soon enough. But we're getting there. There's some areas that we've been able to restore that are more in play, and some of the peripheral areas right now are still up there. We'll get there soon.
Well, things looked really good on TV. I know I enjoyed the tournament for sure, and there was a lot of positive comments. Was there anything about the tournament or about things that went on that you would have liked to see a little bit better, or were you kind of happy with the whole process?
I think for us, I mean, the only thing you kind of wish didn't happen, we got 2 inches of rain that ended around midnight on Wednesday night. So going into the first round of play, the golf course changed a little bit. Certainly, the fairways lost some firmness that really kind of stayed with us the rest of the week, with the fairways being a little softer. We had made some applications to try to help ourselves with that, but the new infrastructure on greens is night and day. But in 2019, we would have been pumping bunkers and fixing bunkers, and greens would remain soft all weekend. And with having the new infrastructure, the greens were firm by the weekend, and we had a nice tournament with as regards to firmness. But not having all the bunkers wash out is just a different deal for us. The guys that were
Mother
here
Nature.
before the renovation, they said, what would have happened before we redid these bunkers? I said, I know what we would have been doing today. I've been cutting greens and fixing bunkers. But we had a full maintenance Monday or maintenance Thursday. We went through, we mowed fairways. We did everything that day, which kind of stopped all the talk about whether or not we would go lift, clean, and place. If we're mowing fairways, the tour is usually pretty good with playing the ball down. So, if we could take that back, and had what we had in 2023 with really firm conditions, that would have been fantastic. But you roll with what you get, and this year we got hit pretty good on Wednesday night, and we worked through it.
Chad, I think I told you maybe before. I mean, the golf course just keeps getting better and better every year. How do you guys continually improve on what's already just an incredible product?
Well, I think obviously the renovation in 2020 was one of those things that was going to set us up long term. And as you know, it takes 3 to 5 years for everything to kind of reach that maturity. And we're in that window now where even the members are saying, you guys told us it was going to be 3 or 5 years before it was, what we really wanted. And it just takes time. And all these guys doing renovations right now, that's the same thing they're going to face here for a few years. You play defense a little bit more when turf's juvenile, and we're to the point now where that infrastructure is showing its value. And quite frankly, you know how we are here. We finished the tournament, we'd start looking at things that we could have done better. We look for those little details that maybe weren't quite perfect, and we're never going to be perfect, but that's what we strive to be. We strive to be in an elite status, and that's not just for the tournament, but for daily play. And I think our guys will look at themselves with a critical eye and find something that we can do better, and we'll continue to try to improve. But how it is. Local media here likes to talk about what changed this year, and with 16th hole again last year. But I hope we just get to the point where, like they do down south in Georgia, they just expect it to be really good every year, and I want to get to that point where that's the expectation, is just to be at that level year in, year out, and you don't really have to find that thing that is like, oh, look what they did here, that's so much better. I just like to be at that level where it's expected.
I think it is expected already. I think you're kind of there, Chad. But you mentioned kind of taking a look back and doing a debrief on it. What's that process like? When do you guys do that? And how do you kind of identify what you guys need to work on?
I think it's actually ongoing. I think the whole week, I'll send a text of something I saw, or a shuttle van situation, or a turf situation, or just an organization thing. And throughout the week, the assistants and I talk every night, and I said, hey, put this in our notes for next year. But then after the tournament, we kind of get into a different model. Obviously, we don't get all of our interns here until probably 2 to 3 weeks before the tournament. It's kind of getting them in a place where they can succeed and the tournament can succeed. And as soon as we get out of the tournament, it's try to teach our staff as many things as we can and become more of a learning environment. So, when we meet with them and we'll have a turf talk, we'll say, hey, name a couple of things that didn't go so well. Name a couple of things you really liked, whether it's simple as, what food trucks you liked or what you didn't like, or, what we did on the golf course, that maybe they think could have been better. We'll start to get their feedback and not just from, our four assistants, but from the 15 guys that are either interns or AITs that really look at things with a critical eye and think about things, with some skin in the game. So we go through that with them, and then we compile some notes. And then, when we start back up in January, we bring those notes out and say, hey, I don't want to have to try to remember back to last May and June. Let's talk about what we wrote down right after it was still fresh in our minds. And in January, we really start to dial in on the things that we didn't do well and try to make them better, and just rinse and repeat with the stuff that's working pretty well.
You guys have a well-oiled machine going on there, and I think some of the interns, when I talk to them, they always joke that, and they call it Muirfield University.
Nice.
What's the key to kind of creating that environment where it's constantly learning, even you? I mean, I know you bring guys in from around the country, all your buddies, your network of peers, and you're constantly learning from them too. I mean, how do you create that kind of environment where it's focused on learning, training, and again, kind of moving people along? I know what you're really proud of.
Well, I think it's a little bit of a complex answer. And I think it starts with the fact that I had an internship working for John Zimmers and Jim Roney back in the 90s, when Sandridge was being built and opened. That really changed the course of my career. I felt that I got put into every aspect of maintenance and management that I could ever get put into down the road. And I take internships very seriously, and I want our interns to feel that same way that I did, I guess 25 years ago. But you know, we look at it, more time off now is a great thing. I worked, I guess 6 months straight with maybe a day off in that 6 months to go see my brother graduate. Nowadays, these guys are working 10 days on, 2 days off. And I think that does a couple of things. It gives us a chance to be diverse in their task load. When certain guys are off, it might be a chance for somebody else to spray or hand water greens or something like that. But it also makes us better as a staff when we can get as many of these staff members trained on as many items as you can get them trained on. When someone's out, it's not like we can't do that today. We don't have him, and I know that, there's a lot of instances in the past where, well, we had two or three guys that did all the spraying. Well, we probably have 7 or 8 that can right now. And so you're not hurt if somebody's off, and you can give people time off, and it makes us fresh when you get to August and September. We don't have that burnout look to us. So I think it makes our staff better by having them learn as many things as they can learn and be trained on as many things as they can be trained on. And I think it makes them happy because they have some ownership in things. I think that's a key for our staff, is that we don't only learn from me or the assistants. It's a learning environment that you're learning from the other interns. If you go back to the house that night, maybe you weren't on a spray or maybe you weren't watching greens that day, but you can talk to the others that were, and then you're going to have your time here coming up. And I think that's what keeps them motivated. I think it keeps them coming back. We have several repeat interns this year. And I think that they go tell their friends, like, hey, you'll go there and get to learn stuff. You won't be doing the same thing every day. We really diversify what we do with them. And I think that really helps our culture.
You mentioned a little bit of ownership. How much do you put it on them and ask them, hey, what do you want this to be? Is that something you approach with them when they first arrive?
Yeah, I think that we do a questionnaire here, when we talk to them during the turf talks. Is like, this is what you've done so far, but what are the things you really want to get accomplished in the next 2.5, 3 months? And we talk about that during the intern process too, interview process. But we also tell them during the interview process that these first few 3, 4 weeks that you're here are going to be really intense, and it's not like that the whole year. And we get an idea of what they're good at and what they'd like to see more of during the interview process. But then we really dial in on, okay, you've seen it now for a month. what else do you really want to dive into? We had one of our interns that really wanted to try some irrigation repair and maintenance, and so we've really tried to get him on that here the last 2 weeks. Some other guys wanted to spray, some other guys wanted to really get hand watering, which even our repeat interns didn't get a lot of that last year because it was a wet summer. They've got it this year. Last week was probably more hand watering experience for some of those guys than they did all of last year with the heat wave we had. But we just it's constant feedback here. I tell people all the time, if you're waiting for your annual review, then you're not paying attention because we're constantly giving people feedback and constantly asking questions, and we have that rapport with all the guys, not just the interns, but with our entire staff. And we really try to be dialed in every day with what they're seeing, what they're feeling. Are they tired? Do they need a break? That kind of thing. So I think the constant communication that we have with them, we feel like we're in a pretty good spot with them most of the time.
That's amazing. I love that in a leader. I think that's something you're definitely doing a great job with. And to piggyback Brian's comment there of Muirfield University, I think that's so important for superintendents, especially someone in your position. Not only educating the people that are there, but also educating the people that are just coming there for a short period of time, whether it be a week volunteering or as an intern. I'd love to bring it back to the tournament and relay a little bit of this towards the end of the tournament when it did end, and everything is kind of a sigh of relief and it's all over. And obviously, we do have to turn it back over to membership and everything. But you talked about it taking a little bit of a break. Is there a bit of a pause for your staff there, or is there a couple days where everybody does take a bit of a breather?
Well, that's a great question because we have to get the job done to get the golf course back for the members, but we also need to, be cognizant of the fact that these employees just put in a lot of hours, not just the week of the tournament, but the 3 or 4 weeks leading into the tournament. We give everybody the day off, except for 3 or 4 interns that come in that day, and managers, and then those interns that come in on Monday get to take the next 2 days off after that. But we aerified fairways. We did a lot of work to the rough where we had matted down rough outside the ropes. We had to do a lot of terra raking and try to get that stood back up. And rough's 5, 6 inches long that week, so you got to get that down to an acceptable level by that
Yeah.
Saturday when you reopen for the members. So there's a lot of work. I think that the misconception is that we can kind of sit back and relax that whole week after, but with the standard that our members expect when we reopen, that Saturday is important to us, and we want to make sure it's a clean golf course. And there's still structures up, there's still people driving around picking things up, but at the same time, it's their golf course back inside the ropes should look pretty good by that Saturday we reopen. So there's some cultivation practices and some maintenance practices that we have to do to recover. But we started at 7 all week. That was intentional to try to get some guys a little bit of extra sleep, catch up on some sleep. That Monday off has been good for them. I think a lot of them ended up going and playing golf or doing stuff. And I said, you guys just need to relax. I mean, but I'm a lot older than them. They got more energy than I do. But we started that 10-day, 2 day immediately after tournament. So we've cycled through everybody at this point. That's a turf student. They've gotten a couple of days off, and they're fresh and they're doing great right now.
Chad, I know you started your career at, a local small public golf course. What's one thing, and obviously now at Muirfield Village, what's one thing that's maybe the same, whether you're at a small public golf course or you're at Muirfield Village? Is there something that's just a constant?
Yeah, pride. I mean, either you have pride in your work and you're willing to put your name on it, or you don't. And I think that hasn't changed for me. Whether it was working at the Elks with those guys, John and Blaine, those guys, we all still cared, and we played a lot of golf back then, and we wanted it to be good. We were playing it almost every day, and it's one of the things that drew me to this business that I don't do anymore. But I loved it. I thought it was fun. We'd
Keep
work.
building your handicap so we can get back
Yeah,
into the KK Cup.
it's I've probably entered 6 scores in the last 2 years, so you're good.
Oh, damn.
But it's one of the things that drew me to it because we took a lot of pride in it. Even if it was a staff of 7 or 8 people, I don't think that changes. I think that's just part of it. I think you find people with pride. That's one of the reasons we hire a lot of athletes here. They understand dedication, getting up early, hard work. We go recruit athletic departments at schools and try to get those people because they have that pride, and they know what it takes to get there. And I think that is universal with wherever I've worked along the way. That's been something that I think that remains constant.
You mentioned getting up early there, and that is something that sometimes people overlook in this industry. It's don't necessarily have to be a morning person, but getting up early is a big thing. Talk to us a little bit about your morning process. Getting up obviously pretty early. What's it like for you? Do you have a really regimented routine, or is it kind of different every day?
I've gotten better with this because my whole career, especially during the assistant days and early days of being a superintendent, I'd always try to be the first one here. And I've learned for myself, I'm very impatient, so I can't sit here and just kind of wait patiently for the morning meeting. I'll kind of say, let's just go ahead and get this guy going. Let's go get this guy going. So I would say Drake, Connor, and Mitchell and Seamus probably beat me here more often than not. They don't like it when I do beat them here because they know that something's wrong. Like that Wednesday night storm, I was here with Connor around 3:15 in the morning, and I saw Drake pull in, and I just looked at Connor. I go, he's gonna be pissed. I'm beating him here, and he was, but that's part of it. I get up, and I kind of do some of my emails and some of my thoughts and planning over a cup of coffee, and then I usually will text or call one of the assistants before I head in. Then I head in probably half hour before we actually get started, and just kind of get a cup of coffee, talk to a few of the guys, and then we get going with a morning meeting around right now it's around 6 o'clock, and I like to go out there and be part of the morning run and look at every green and talk to the employees and see how everything's going. And one of the important things that I think I do that probably drives our staff nuts, but I'll never change, is if we get out there and we don't like something, and I'm in it, so I know if we like it or not. We will make changes. I mean, we could get out there and say, hey, we were going to go out and single cut this morning, and we're getting a lot of grass, and we get the clipping yields off the first couple of greens, and I'm like, all right, let's go a second time, and we change things up, and that might mean that you pull a couple other people off of something else to come get another set of greens mowers or what have you. But that's what I like about the mornings. I like the organized chaos of it. I like to be able to go out there and say, well, this is perfect or this isn't perfect. Let's try to change it up and let's do something different because I think that'll be a better product for our members today. And then, after that morning wave of assignments, that's when we come in and kind of, debrief and say, what are we going to do as the rest of the day? And I'll come in and do a lot of spray sheets and try to get an idea of what we're doing for the rest of the week. But, one thing that I think that I got better with as my careers went on, it's hard when you're a young superintendent to take care of yourself. And so there's days, not as much recently as I would like because of a little knee injury I have, but there's a lot of days that 2 or 3 days a week I'll try to go out and get a workout in around 11 and 12 o'clock and break up my day a little bit and then come back and do invoices and go out for a ride and look at how we're handling afternoon stressors and that kind of thing. But I think when I was young, it's hard to tell your wife when you have kids at home that I'm going to stop at the gym on the way home and it's already been a 12-hour day at work, and it's hard to get in before work because it's so early in the morning. It's just a nice way that I break up my day, and every one of my assistants that leaves here, I'm like, just start this now because I'm telling you, like I wish I would have started that years ago. It kind of clears your mind, gets you back in it, and so that's kind of a day for me. When I can work it in, I like to get a workout in middle of the day, and we have a couple pieces of workout equipment here that we got for the staff when we built a new shop too. So sometimes it's not even getting away; it's just going in and getting a little sweat in, and then refocusing for the day after a quick shower and get out and look at stuff for the afternoon wave with the guys.
I like that. That needs to
Oh,
be in more
Adam, you,
shops.
you got to come down here and check out Chad's shop. It's pretty
To be
fantastic.
able to get a little pump in a shower midday, like that'd be nice.
I probably shower more at my office than I do at home in the month of May, to
That's
be honest with you.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely spend a lot of hours there in May. You mentioned a bit of a lack of patience. I think that's a characteristic trait that many superintendents share. But you also mentioned, after the renovation, I mean, it's 3 to 5 years of maturation, so it requires a little bit of patience. How do you balance, your own personality trait, your impatience with the superintendent lifestyle of you've got to be patient for certain things?
Yeah, I think it's something that gets better with time. Certainly, I'm a lot better now than I was. I got my first superintendent job when I was 26, and I don't know that you can be patient enough at that age until you have some perspective. And I've had people ask me before, like, you must have a really high pressure job. I felt more pressure in those first 5 years as a superintendent when you're in your late 20s and you've worked really hard to get to that point where you kind of made it, and it's like you don't want to lose that. So I think I put more pressure on myself back then, I think, and I think that leads to more impatience. You know how everything is. The more you do things, the 10,000 hour rule. There's certain decisions that I think that just come naturally because you've seen this stuff for over 20 years now in this role, and it's easier to be patient because you kind of know how the back of this is going to look versus those first two or three times you saw something you didn't know how things were going to shake out. And I just think that that's one of those things that you have to commit yourself to trying to be better with. I still have plenty of days, and my staff will tell you that I'm impatient about stuff, and I'll say let's just seed some of these areas right now because we got good weather on our side, and a week later I say I'm done, I sod it, and so I still get like that. I just try to be better about it. I just know myself in the morning. I know that it's not good for anybody if I get here and want to get going, and so I think having a cup of coffee and just kind of checking out. You don't read the paper anymore, but just checking out the news on the iPad or something like that, and looking at emails. I think kind of sets me off for the day a little bit better versus knowing that you have to get in here quick because you had a storm overnight or you have an event coming up. You got to run in here and you're kind of hair on fire type of mentality. So I try to set myself up a little bit better in the mornings than I used to. And the workout in the middle of the day actually helps a lot too. It just frees your mind a little bit. You can think about some things. You can take some notes when you get off of the bike or the weights and stuff like that, and kind of figure out a way to make yourself a little bit more patient.
That's unbeatable. I think you're onto something there, honestly.
It works for me. I don't know if it works for everybody, but I like it.
How's the knee feeling, by the way?
It's okay. I'm good. I'm good
Working
enough
on it,
right
eh?
now.
One thing we like to ask people here on the show is just to go back, and I know you've told the story a few different times on different networks and things, but just for some of our listeners, just to get a little bit of a picture of your career and coming up and obviously becoming the superintendent of Muirfield Village, just give us a little bit of a look at how that went.
But like Brian said, I started off at a public golf course about 15, 20 minutes from where I grew up in Southern Ohio. It was in Wilmington, Ohio. And, they were doing a grow in of a second nine. It went from 9 to 18 when I started. And my dad was in the business. My dad works for Pure Seed right now. And he had, at that time, I think he was with Lofts. And he had worked with the club to sell him the new turf seed for the second nine. And got me a job when I was, I think almost 16 years old. And I think we had one walk mower there, and I would go in after school and walk mow a handful of greens each night, and just saw them building that second nine, and then took the job for the summer. The next 2 or 3 summers I was there, and then I loved it. I loved being around the guys. I loved the team atmosphere. I loved the pride that we took in our work. I love playing golf. So I thought, well, why wouldn't I just do this for a career? So I enrolled at Ohio State in 1996. And I think I worked one more summer at the Elks. I worked when I was at school at Double Eagle. And then in 1998, that's when I alluded to that internship that kind of changed my course of where my career went. I went to Sand Ridge at the tail end of that grow in, and I was there for the opening. I did 6 months, and Matt Weber was there with me. But that we worked a tremendous amount of hours, and I will tell you that looking back on it now, if they just celebrated their 25th anniversary, that was some of the best years of my life is working there. And like some people don't like to go work those hours. I fell in love with it. I thought it was incredible that you didn't just say, okay, we'll let that go. We'll get that, the next couple of days. We worked until we couldn't work any longer that day, and didn't leave any stone unturned. It was awesome. And I just fell in love with the intensity of it. I went back there for a second internship and then graduated in 2000. And I took a assistant's job back there with Jim Roney after John had left for Oakmont. And, it just, I love the place, but I love the people more. I think everybody we worked with there still has that feeling where there's a closeness to it, and I hope that that's what we're doing for the staff we have now. Is that they look back on this 15 years from now and still have lifelong friends out of it. But I went from Sand Ridge to Kirtland in 2003. That was my first head superintendent job. I was there a long time. I left there in 2016 to go to Inverness Club. I thought that I'd be there, when my kids graduate school and stuff. I thought we'd be in Toledo through all that. And, this opened up a year after getting to Inverness, and I got a call about my interest in it. And I really, at first, wasn't interested because I didn't feel like I could do that to Inverness. And we had so much positive momentum but everything happens for a reason. And I had some mentors of mine that said that, you need to do this. This is where you're from. It's, Ohio State's right there. This is, probably been your dream job since you were young, and it has. But I felt terrible doing that to Inverness. But after talking through it, it was about 5 days after Paul left here. I ended up taking the job here, and then, as you know, Inverness got, a legend in John Zimmers and what he's been able to do there. I don't know that I could have accomplished anyhow, so it worked out better for the club and for everybody involved. So, I've been here since 2017, and it's time's flying. I can't believe it's been that long, to be honest with you. To do, I think, our ninth tournament with the two that we did in 2020 already is just crazy to me, because it feels like I just got here in some regards.
I'll never forget spring tee off 2016. I gotta run. I've got lunch with mom. Yeah, sure you do, Chad.
Yeah,
Gotta
yeah,
going
that
going
was
over
the
for
day.
delivery. Yeah.
That was my excuse to be down here too. So it was a good one. Yep,
Yeah, nice.
that was
Nice.
it.
Well, you just talked about your entry into the business, and now your oldest son Drew is making his way into the business. Number one, how exciting is that for you? And number two, what advice have you given him to kind of help him find his own path to success?
It's something I never really pushed. I never really even suggested it. It's something that, he asked if he could have a job here when he was 15, 16 years old, just like your son has now. And he liked it for the same reasons I did. He loves the team camaraderie. He loves, being outside and seeing like an instant gratification in your work. And, he started to mention it a little bit his senior year. And I don't know that he was quite sure. He went to a smaller school to play lacrosse early on. And, halfway into that, he just said, "No, I want to major in turf, and I want a big school. This isn't for me." He liked lacrosse, but he didn't really like a lot of the other things about the small school. So, yeah, he's into it now. We're treating him like an intern. We kind of did last year too. This year for sure, he's one of our returning interns, and he's doing a great job. I don't tell him that very often, but he is, and so my advice to him has just been that if this is what you want to do, and there's some ways that this is going to be easier for you, because we can call a lot of people and get him an opportunity, but there's a lot of ways it's going to be harder, and that's, you have to go out work everybody, because you don't want anybody to say that you're only here because it's your dad, and he'll get some of that. He already has, and he'll get more of it. And he just has to work through it. And I had it to some small degree because, my dad was in the industry as well, but he's going to have to outwork people, and just, really have to prove himself, and not just have the last name. And I think he's doing that. I think he's doing a good job of that. He realizes that he's got to, have his own way, not just what I did.
You guys get out on the course to play at all together?
I probably wouldn't play golf if it wasn't for playing with my kids, but at the same time, Drew has his friends now. He's got a better game than me, and we'll play. We'll go on vacation and play. We'll play a couple times throughout the year. But he plays a lot of golf, and he knows I don't want to do that, so he doesn't even ask me, because he wants to play. He gets out of here, and you can work an 8 to 10 hour day, and you'll still see that he's out playing golf somewhere after work, and he knows I'm not going to do that, so he doesn't ask me a lot anymore. But I did play a couple weeks ago with my middle son and younger son and my wife, and just kind of chipped a putt. But it's always good to get out with them and spend some time with them. But yeah, Drew's a pretty good player, so he has better games to find than me.
Ryan's working out there now too. Is this something he's thinking about pursuing as well, or is he just out there for a summer job?
No, he's a summer job. He takes pride in it, though. He does a good job. He got the Mo Greens this year for tournament. He's got some decent talent out here, but it's not what he wants to do. He's a pretty good basketball player, and as you know, because you've known me for a long time, my little hobby job up in Cleveland was I was a varsity basketball assistant with Doug Snyder at Chardon, and Ryan kind of grew up a gym rat, and so he wants to be a college basketball coach. And I told him, I said, you think I work a lot of hours? I mean, you might you might find out that's even worse, but that's his dream right now, and that's what he's thinking about doing. So. He's entering his senior year of high school, and he's got some things to figure out for where he wants to go. But that's the course I think he's going to take right now.
Beautiful. It's cool to keep it in the family, but I mean, if Can't force him to do something, right? It could be one of those things that down the road he comes back to.
It could be something I go back to, Adam. Honestly, like he
Hey,
gets a big time coaching job, I'll just go sit on his bench as my retirement gig.
that would be nice too. That would be nice too. You mentioned your dad was in the industry. Was there any other major mentors for you, kind of coming up or moving into a major role?
Oh, for sure, John Zemmers and Jim Roney and Richard LaRocca. John and Jim, I was a young intern. They taught me a great deal. They taught me how to work. They taught me the attention to detail that you have to be successful in this business. And then when I got my first opportunity at Kirtland, Richard LaRocca was our general manager, and just helping a young guy that just got a job, who probably is still a too full piss of vinegar at age 26, work into being more professional. I credit him with a lot of that because I really learned a lot about the business side of this and the entire club business instead of just the golf course maintenance side of things from Richard. So yeah, all those people, my dad, my grandpa, all those people, and I think that that's something that a lot of times in our industry you start to see guys move on from a system or from one branch of the superintendent's tree, and you look at it and say, well, they do things just like they did, when he worked as under, X. But I think with all of us, in life and in this industry especially, it's more about all of those people that had an effect on your growing up, whether it's coaches or it's parents or grandparents or it's teachers and professors and what have you. Like everyone's going to have a little piece in that, management DNA. And I've been very, very lucky to have so many great people that I've worked for, lived with, or been around my whole life. And I think that you have to become that. You can't get to your next club and be afraid to change things up from the system that you grew up in. And you can get together with your mentors and say, well, I'm doing this now, and they can say, well, you're doing this, it's proven that ours works. But I think it's important for you to branch off and try new things. And I think that a combination of all those people that have touched your life is a very important part of becoming who you want to be as a manager. And I'm very blessed who I've had around me.
Along those lines, you've been a mentor to several people along the way, and I think one of my favorite things about the culture there, the environment, and some of the things you've implemented at Muirfield are the legacy conference room where you've got flags of the courses where all your assistants have gone on to their own superintendent roles, and then the developed tier wall with the flags all across the country, actually internationally too. Um, why is it important for you to showcase and highlight those individuals that have trained, within that that team there and gone on? Why is it important for you to showcase those people?
Well, I mean, I'm very proud of them all. That's the main thing, and they all work so hard here in the same roles that our current staff has been in. And even if Kyle Steidel and Jared Way didn't work with Drake and Mitchell and Seamus and Connor, like there's a brotherhood there because they've all been through it, right? And we do a dinner every year at the show, and those guys get to be around each other to interact. And it's just this common thread that they've all been through it. They've all done this at the same level. They've all been through the tournament prep. They've all been through the tear down. They've all been through the membership, using this club as much as they can for the next 4 months. And I think that they come back every year and they help the young guys. I really want to highlight that, and I really want our current staff aspiring to be that. I want them to sit there when we have meetings in the conference room and say, I want my flag on that wall at some point. And I want my name on the flag on that developed here sign. But it's more than that. It's the closeness that they're going to have with those people for the rest of their career. I mean, I have a text thread with all of our old assistants that have moved on in the last 7-8 years, and we're on it every week. I mean, I talk to those guys almost weekly, and I want them to always feel like they can come back here, and I want them to feel like they were a major part in where we're at today. I would say our staff today is probably better than the staffs that they were on, and it's because of them that it is. And I think that that's one of my favorite parts of the tournament too. Is it's a reason for them to come back, and the rest of the tournament stuff is just so much about the job that you have to get done. And the fun part of the tournament for me is to have all those people come back and be here for a few days and interact with our current management team and our current interns, and they've all heard their names, they've seen their flags, and every time they get water, there's a poster above the water fountain that says, drink the water, but don't forget who dug the well, and it has all their names on it. So I mean, like, they know who their names are, and I'd like to see them put the face to the name and get to meet them, because those people, it's just like, when you play sports, a lot of times, a coaching change or something like that happens. Those first few years aren't very good, and that's not the case here. We were really good, but they make it better. And when someone wins a league championship down the road, you credit the people that built the standard that you want to present. And I think all of those people have, they didn't get to work out of this new shop, and they come back like, this would have been awesome. Well, but they helped get it there because they got the golf course to a point where, we could, earn our keep, and everybody thought that was important for us to have a better work environment. So I mean, Nicholas took care of us on this and got us in an incredible facility now, and the pride that our staff has in that is incredible. But those guys, they love coming back here and seeing the changes that happen, and they love seeing the growth. And Mitchell Kofer was an intern my first year, and Kyle and Jared both worked with Mitchell, and for him to be in a leadership role right now, and them see his growth, his maturity is one of the things that they always talk about when they come back too. So that legacy thing is really important to me, because I feel like hopefully that's how John and Jim look at me. Like, they're very important to me, and I want them to feel like they can come back here and be a part of this anytime they want. And I love being with them. So that it's the main reason we do it.
It's one of my favorite parts about tournament week too. It's like a family reunion. It's always great to see everyone coming back. So a couple follow-ups from that. You mentioned the dinner at the conference every year. Do you take the Corcoran route, and do you have the guy that got the job, the most recent new superintendent, have pick up the check, or what?
No, we pick up the check. Trust me. Our general manager, Nicholas LaRocca, when someone leaves here, we have a big dinner as a celebration, and Nicholas always picks up that tab, because the club, deserves they deserve getting the club to buy them a big dinner. And we take all the wives, and we take the current management team, and we do the same thing at the conference. And Nicholas would never let me not have the club pay for that, because he feels strongly, like I do, that they put in so much work here and they deserve that. And so that's what we do. The club picks that one up for us.
So my next question is, I want to know when I'm going to get my flag. I mean, I feel like I was developed there too. I mean, you were the start of
Yes.
my tournament coverage, my behind the scenes, my course renovation documentation. I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, this is exciting for me because Chad has been instrumental in the development of Superintendent Network and my career and all that. And I can't thank you enough for that, Chad. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a flag up there. Don't put it up there for Twisted Paul though, because you've probably seen that. It's not good.
Well, but your twisted Paul flags are like little tiny miniature putting green flags. I mean, it'd look weird in there, the little 5x7 frame with a twisted Paul flag.
No, I just want to
You
get
put
on
it
the
above a light
developed tiers.
switch.
I just
Yeah,
want on the map. That's all I want. I just want to get on the map.
we can make that happen.
No, it's all good. But no, thank you so much for everything you've done for me and for my growth personally too. So I know I'm not one of your assistants or anything, but you've kind of treated me that same way and helped me. And I don't know if you remember, you were one of my first visits when I kind of found my way back into the industry, and you were at Kirtland, and I took a sales job for some flash in the pan product that made it for like 6 months. But you were so gracious and drove me around Kirtland for an hour or something, and we talked basketball and golf architecture and all that. So you've known you for a long time, and again, can't thank you enough for everything you've done for me, man.
Well, it goes both ways. I mean, when you're doing a renovation and two tournaments during 2020, and no one, our national members can't be here, the club's really not open, and you were able to come in here and give us a communication device with the videos that we did for the renovation. I mean, I still get members tell me that was so cool that you had all those videos, so we could kind of stay up to date with the changes that were made, and not just that, but the tournament that helped. I mean, you've stamped greens out here more than anybody I know, and every year with the PDF, and I just got somebody else asking me where that PDF came from. Like, just call Brian. It's like you take care of so many little things for us, and you have over the years. I feel bad because you used to have to really work hard to get the AV set up in the old barn, and now there's really not much to do with the new shop. We're all good here.
Dude, I'm perfectly
We've
fine
tried
with
to
it.
plan that out to where we wouldn't have to have you on a ladder too much like we did at the old shop.
Oh yeah, those were fun days pulling those screens out of the attic.
Yeah.
Good times. Good times.
Well, this has been really cool, Chad. I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to talk to us about. The floor is kind of yours. This is your episode. It's been fantastic getting to know you a little bit and your story. But if there's anything you wanted to plug, it's wide open for you.
No, I think we've hit on a lot of things that, yeah, I think Brian knows this. I'm most proud of our staff, and we talked a lot about them. But getting through this tournament this year, you know, we talk about that planning that becomes part of our weekly schedule in January, and every year we come up with a slogan. And our biggest discussion this year was, we had a 7 under winner in 2023. We had a firm golf course because it didn't rain for 3 weeks. And my biggest worry was that we had a lot of people returning. They would put this pressure on themselves for that score, and read a lot of books, and I'm reading one right now by Ryan Hawk and Brooks Cups about the score that matters, and surrendering the outcome. And I was just worried going into this year, if you got deluges every day, that the staff would feel defeated that they didn't get that 7 under, or the golf course played soft. And they took all of that to heart. And we talked about this year, just think, don't do, because they've all been trained, they've all been in this role. And just the way that they carried themselves this year through some adversity, because it wasn't a perfect thing for us with getting the rainstorm that we got Wednesday night into Thursday morning. And I thought they handled Thursday morning as well as any staff could ever handle some adversity. And I think that's a sign that we're really growing and becoming the team that we need to be. And I'm just real proud of them. And I thank you guys, and thank Brian for everything he does for getting the messages out there. Because I think a lot of people were like, well, why is it so soft? It must be watering a lot. Like, well, it just got 2 inches of rain last night. But Brian was quick to put that out there, and I think that's a big help for every tournament that has Brian involved. Has been the communication, and seeing some of the stories about where people have come to volunteer and be a part of that is incredible. So keep it coming, Brian.
So you mentioned the books. Again, one of the cool things you do is the essentially a book club with your staff during the wintertime. What's on tap for next year?
I credit my grandparents for this. Every year we trimmed my grandma's tree before Christmas, so we didn't get Christmas gifts at the tree trimming. You got a book, and as a kid, you're like, okay, it's a book. But I usually get my staff a 6-pack of Christmas ale, and I pick out a book or two. Last year they read Jocko Willick's book, and I think they read Daniel Pink's Drive last year as well. Just as far as a motivate, what motivates people. And then this year, no, I haven't thought that far ahead yet, but I'm reading a couple of good ones right now. And kind of my rule is whatever book I give them, I've already read and probably will come back and reread. It might be this one I'm reading now because I really like it. I like both books by Ryan Hawk that he wrote with Brooks Kopp, who's a coach in Centerville. So that could very well be what they end up reading next year. But yeah, one book that I always try to give the manager as soon as he gets into a manager role, and we've promoted from within, not just here, but Kirtland and Inverness. Quite frankly, I took Adam with me from Kirtland to Inverness. The first book they get, there's a book called Lead for God's Sakes that I think is a really good message, and it's a parable, so it's easy to read, but there's a really good message in it about what motivates people and how you lead. So they all get that one to start things off, and then we kind of go from there. And if there's a book that fits one person a little bit better than the other, then like Nate was always good with like the Goggins books. He loves that stuff, and so I mean, like I try to tailor it to what their personality is and what they like. But yeah, I credit my grandparents for that. So that's my Christmas gift to these guys is usually a couple of books or a 6-pack of beer. So they probably don't love the book thing either, like I didn't as a kid. But it's kind of a sentimental thing to me now.
So Lead for God's Sake, fantastic book. I read that one too, but I know Urban's a big fan of that one too. Did he
Mm-hmm.
introduce you to that, or did you introduce him to that? Well, you said it was at Kirtland, so
No,
it must have been before.
no, I don't. No, Urban didn't introduce me to it, but I know he wrote a forward for it later on. I think I read it before the forward was wrote by Urban, but I just think it's a great. I probably read it once a year. A lot of times it's such an easy read. I'll read it to and from the show on the iPad. Just so if I'm giving that book to the new guys, I can kind of recall everything about it that I want to talk about with the staff. But it's a good book for a young leader. It's got a great message, and I think that that's been the staple for me for a long time is to give that one out and we go through it.
Part of the hatchet.
Yep,
Part of the
yep, and
hatchet.
I think that's that's a good message because I think we can get too hatchety at times, and then we can try to reverse ourselves and go the other way and be too soft about things, and it's a combo of both. It's just knowing the timing and I tell these guys all the time, I'm hard on them. There's no doubt about it. I'm hard on them, and I think that advice I gave a couple of my assistants that I left here. I'm like, look, I can be hard on you guys because I love you. I go, but when you get into a new staff and you don't have that relationship with them yet, you can't go, as blatant as I am sometimes. But like you guys know, at the end of the day, I love all you guys. So I feel like that gives you some credibility to get on a little bit when they need to have them kicked in the rear a little bit. But that's something that I think you learn from that book too, is that if you have those deep relationships, you can be honest and upfront about stuff, and that's kind of how we are.
Sounds like a really cool team to be on, to be honest with you. I've always been a team player myself and enjoy, good leadership and good people on a team, good team players. So that sounds like a lot of fun. There must be a lot of camaraderie that goes on around that place. Is there anything, I know you don't get a lot of time off, but is there anything you guys do as a staff for fun?
A lot of the staff, when we do the 10-day, 2-day, we try to put them with people we know they're pretty close with anyhow. They play a lot of golf. They'll go play some golf. They go out. I know that a bunch of the interns went to the concert this weekend together. They're just, even if it's just sitting around the intern house, around fire pit and having a beer like Weber and I did back in the day. I think that there's a brotherhood there that's pretty strong, and they genuinely love each other. And I know that a lot of them will visit each other once they get back to school and go up and watch, Ohio State play Michigan State or Purdue play Michigan State or Purdue come to Ohio State. So they all catch up with each other and stay in contact. I was somehow roped into the text thread last year that it seemed like every weekend on Saturday, which I loved being on the text thread. I absolutely loved it. But they left me on it. It was all the interns, and we got Tennessee and Purdue and Michigan State and Ohio State and Penn State. So like there was all this banter every Saturday for college football, and I just love it. I think that's the part of it that gets me going. I love it that they are close, and I love it that they don't just go back to school and then lose touch with each other. They stay in touch, and the banter is pretty good. It's pretty funny sometimes.
Well, Weber's a little too shy. He said he didn't want to make a camera appearance or podcast appearance here this morning. But I did get a question from Carson Sells up here in Detroit. You sent him up here to work the Rocket Mortgage. He wanted to know who your favorite second year intern is this year.
Well, I'm not going to answer that because I don't have a favorite. Well, I mean,
You've got one.
He's trying to get me to say my son, but I probably harder on him than I am any of them. So,
He
but
wanted you
Carson's
to
a
say
good one.
him, but
Carson's a great one. They're all great. They all do a great job, and we do have a great group of second year interns. And I think that's something that we haven't had a lot of that here. We have occasionally had an intern that takes full-time jobs. We just had that with Cooper David from Michigan State. But I think the shops helped a lot of that. I think the pride that they have in this building, and I mean, I'm doing stuff. Quite frankly, 15 years ago, if you told me that I had a little weight room and a PlayStation set up, that these guys clock out and sit here and play PlayStation at the end of the day, it's like go home if you want, but they love it, and so it's a really cool group of kids, and they got such bright futures. It's going to be outstanding to see how they grow.
well, Chad, thank you so much for your time. I know we tried to get something done before or during advance week and just crazy busy, but glad to have you on here after the fact. Can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us today. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, thank you. It was good to talk to you. I wish I could have done advance week, but Kurt is coming to town, and you did not want him on this one with me.
Oh, dude, we're gonna have to get Curtis on sometime. He'd be a riot.
It wouldn't be as PG, would it? But
No,
I
it's all right.
love Curtis. He's the one during advance week that comes in and he kind of wakes you up and says, what are you doing here? This doesn't look good enough. And the funny story, and I won't keep you, but we were on 10 Pro Tee, which I hardly ever go to because we use it 1 week a year. I'm usually looking at the member tee. And he goes, if you just cut this one limb off this tree, you can see the whole green complex. And I'm just like, okay, Curtis. But we had a tree company here that week, and I said, you know what, go ahead and knock that thing off. And Drake took them out there, and they took it down. And every time I was in my office, it seemed like it was just on purpose that on the TV they'd show the shot from 10T, and I'm like, he was right. You can see the whole freaking green now. It looks awesome. And so I told him a couple of times, like, man, that's why you come. You just saved the tournament. We had a great TV shot because you came in and nitpicked me. But that's what I love about those guys coming in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's team effort, right?
Absolutely.
Really appreciate you coming on today, Chad. It was great getting to meet you and putting your story out there a little bit more. Yeah, it would have been cool to get you during advanced week, but that's a busy time. So we're happy to tell the story now, and we look forward to what comes next.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chad. We'll see you soon, man.
Another beauty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Glad we were able to get him on.
Yeah, that's a true professional. Like he's got that shop high and tight, dialed in. That sounds like a very fun crew to work for, and high pace. There'd probably be high expectations, but it sounds like they have a lot of fun and they work hard.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, it's I'm very fortunate. Like I said, I've known Chad for a long time. When I was running the Ohio Turf Grass Foundation, he was a board member, and so I've gotten pretty close to him through his service there, and just again hanging out at the memorial. Fortunate it's 10 minutes away, if that, from my house. So it's basically my home away from home when I am home. So yeah, just a great culture environment. The people there are just fantastic. I mean, we talk about it every time we wrap up these interviews, right? And like, oh man, what a great person, blah, 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 blah. I mean, and he's just another shining example of it. And yeah, just glad he was able to jump on and just kind of share his stories. And again, I think there it's obviously they've got a course to maintain, but it's more about learning there than it
Hmm.
is on a focus of anything else. I mean, they're just constantly learning. And again, I mean, we made the joke of Muirfield University, but it really is. I mean, he's got, I think, 15 interns, and again, multiple guys that have come back for second years. I mean, that's pretty unique. I don't know what they're certainly out there, but I don't know a ton of people that go and serve their internship the same place for multiple years. So just kind of speaks volumes to what people learn when they go there, and again, what he's kind of created there within that team.
It's the perfect name. Like I don't know about you, but for me, if I was somebody that went to university for a few years and then went and did an internship and actually did on-the-job training and got all that hands-on experience, I would 100% lose, 100% learn more at the golf course than in the classroom. I don't know about you. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. So there should be a lot of focus on these golf courses being, training places or universities. Like there is a lot of work that goes on there outside of your education to build upon it and then move on. So yeah, it's a perfect name, to be honest with you. There should be more of these golf courses that are kind of highlighting themselves as quote unquote universities. Like it's
Yeah. Yep. No, yeah, and it's very similar. There's a lot of places that have great internship programs as well, but it was nice to listen to him kind of talk about the ownership that some of these guys have. And really, he's right. When the interns get there, when he gets a summer help, they're thrown right into the fire, right? Because that
Mhm.
the Memorial Tournament, it's going back to its original date next year, which is Memorial Day will be the Monday, so the first practice round, and then tournament follows that. So I mean, school's just standing down here for most people, so they're just arriving, and literally they're getting thrown into the fire. I mean, my son started working for Chad this summer, and so he got out of school, and next thing you know, like the Memorial Tournament's here, and he's
Right into it.
breaking bunkers or doing whatever, at one of the biggest stages on tour. So yeah, I mean they don't have a ton of time to adjust and get comfortable. It's like, hey man, it's time to perform. So it's can be stressful, I'm sure, at times, but man, they have a great time and get along and just really enjoy each other's company and enjoy the product that they put out there.
I like the flag on the wall idea. I've played in a lot of hockey dressing rooms where you have pictures of guys that used to play on that team that have moved on and played pro and that kind of thing. And so it's a little bit of a badge of honor. And I know, how hard people work at the golf course. Being able to know that your flag, you being a superintendent, your flag is being hung at that shop from where you trained and where you worked and where all these people are coming up behind you. Like I think that's incredible. That's should be something that should be at hopefully in more shops. And I also think it's kind of nice too for a superintendent to be able to have that as a bit of a badge of honor of the people that he's trained or they've trained and kind of moved on behind them.
Yeah, you know, it's we've talked about it before. You know, a lot of these folks take more pride in the people that they trained and moved along than they do anything that happens on the golf course. And
Yeah.
it's you know, they certainly have that there at Muirfield. Yeah, and it's everywhere. It's everywhere you look when you go into that shop. It's as soon as, you know, you go into their shop, you know, they got that developed here wall with all the, you know, locations of guys that have moved on from there, and the conference room is named the legacy conference room because it's where they really showcase again. That's where they display all their flags. So yeah, they take great pride in that, and I'm starting to see a lot more of that popping up with a lot of the places that I'll visit throughout the year, you know, where they're showcasing the people that have moved along. So it is a badge of honor, and it certainly creates a sense of pride for a lot of superintendents that have moved these guys along, and it's just a nice way to recognize them for their hard work while they were there, and just kind of cement that legacy, create that history of the people that have come through. I rambled there. Totally. You can cut
Nailed it
that out,
though.
man. It's no, I don't know about that, man. It's only Tuesday. It's only
Yeah.
been two morning shifts, man, and I'm already starting to. I talked to my wife a little bit ago. She's like, "You okay? You seem out of it." I'm like, yeah, a little bit. I'm
Yeah,
okay
going through it right now.
yeah.
It's a tough schedule, man. Like the split shifts is hard because you really don't have much of a day. It's not like you're going to spend the few hours in between shifts really getting stuff done. I know you are because you're sitting there editing and
Yeah. Yeah.
the staff probably runs home and has a meal or just goes to bed, for a couple hours. So it's a
Yeah.
tough schedule. You're grinding right now and they're all grinding for like the 1 or 2 weeks that they're doing it, but you've been going from tournament to tournament to course to course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Piles on, right, after a while.
It's tiring. It's tiring. Yeah. I don't get that. I don't get that in between shift time, like you said, to go take a nap because I'm always editing or doing something. Today I did squeeze in just a quick about hour nap.
Nice.
I just wouldn't have been able to do anything. I would have been completely a complete waste if I didn't get anything else. But it's a grind. It's okay. Everyone works hard, right? I mean, we're all working hard. So you're in the same boat. You've got, stuff that you're doing during the day. You're doing this, with your downtime right now. So you're no stranger to the grind either.
Yeah, it seems like it's part of the industry, right? If you're working in this
Yeah.
industry, you're grinding. It's
Yeah.
just the way
But
she
you're having
goes.
fun too, right? I mean, this is like, I wouldn't change
100%,
anything.
brother.
I wouldn't change it. I had this conversation with someone the other day. Like, it's like sometimes you get home and you do that debrief with your spouse or significant other or whatever, and, venting about this or that. I can't remember the last time I've had to vent or I vented about anything job related. And maybe the only thing I talk about is that I'm tired, but
Hmm.
we've got the greatest job in the world. You know what we're able to do to showcase and tell people stories. There's nothing cooler than to be able to highlight this profession. There's absolutely nothing I would rather be doing.
I tell you, I get so excited when I see little victories. There's so many different people from all over the world and every little corner of this industry. And every time somebody posts something that they're excited about or something they've overcome or something they've created, it makes me so happy and brings me so much joy. And the fact that we get to turn around and then share that, it kind of shows me that we're in the right place because, we definitely care and this definitely sparks something for us when we are involved with this stuff. So it's something I'm really enjoying and I can't get enough of, and I'll work as hard as I have to for as long as I can to be able to provide for the industry because I'm not a superintendent. I may never become a superintendent. I thought that was going to be my role in the industry. I'm getting that same kind of pride and joy from it all.
Yeah, absolutely. You should, man. You're doing a great job.
Well, I appreciate it, buddy. We'll keep it going and
Yeah.
I guess get back out on the course there because they're going to be starting rolling soon, I think, eh?
Yeah, we've got probably got another 2 hours of work back here at the house, and then we'll head back in for afternoon assignments, see what's going on there, and do it all again tomorrow.
All over again. It's
Yes,
exciting.
sir. Yes, sir.
Are you there
Yeah.
till Sunday too? Are you going to stick around the whole weekend?
I'm not. No, I've got some stuff going on. One of my kids has a lacrosse tournament coming up this weekend, so I'm going to try and get home for that. And I've got so many projects right now on the back burner that I'm that I'm trying to knock out. So I'm going to get out of here Thursday morning after that first shift, get home and get some work done at home, catch up on some editing and whatnot, and then enjoy some time with the kids. My son Ethan at lacrosse, and then jump on a plane 5:30 a.m. on Monday.
That's good though. It's good to take the time.
Yeah,
You're a busy man, you got a lot going on, so it is good to take the time and enjoy it with your family when you can.
it's always good, right? I mean, that's that support system is everything. So,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter what your industry, but anytime you're dedicating this much time, I mean, personally, I couldn't do it without my wife. I mean, I'm gone. She claims 200 nights a year. So, I mean, she puts up with it and she takes care of things while I travel. So, between the two of us, we have four kids. There's lots of activities, and, they're all at that age where they've got something going on. And,
Right.
obviously try and be as involved as I can when I'm around, go to as many things as I can, but, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, having that support system behind you is just so crucial. And anytime you're able to, just like you did this weekend, being able to get away with the family and just spend some time together, it's just so important.
Yeah, it's number one. I was
Yep.
thinking about it the other day. We do work a lot and put a lot of pressure on ourselves, but I was thinking, why am I doing this? Like, why do I work so hard? Why do I put so much stress on myself? And at the end of the day, it's just to take care of my family and to be with my family. And
Yep.
it's such an important thing, as long as everybody's happy and safe and taken care of and we can be together at the end of the day, there's really nothing else that matters, whether it's
Yeah.
money or anything big. Like that's the important stuff. And I think you find that in this industry with a lot of these folks that work hard, enjoy their lives, enjoy their families, and are just there for the peace.
Yep. You got it, man.
All right, buddy. Well, you have a good one. Keep in touch. We'll get some of these videos out. Everybody out there, we appreciate all your support. Keep those reels as sharp as possible. We'll see you guys next week for another good one.